Okay, time for another shop update. I have been pretty busy doing a lot of hauls, local hauls, and some distance hauls. So, what happens during this time is I'll shoot clips and then go on a haul and maybe be gone for a couple of days, come back and kind of forget about what I've shot. So I'm going to show you a shop update. It's going to be a lot about hauling, a lot about the trailer maintenance, some about the truck. But anyways, I'm going to bring you back and kind of show you some stuff. But one of the hauls that I had to make is I had to pick up some steel at a local warehouse and take it to a fabricator about 30 miles away. But it was pretty long. It was 44-foot lengths of I-beams and tube steel. And so I had to put it on the trailer, take it to this place. They said, well, can you just leave the trailer because we're going to have it done in a couple of days, and we can just take it off the trailer as we need to fabricate it and then put it back on the trailer for you. Well, they ended up being a fabricator that had a very tight, narrow parking lot. Not that a shop was big enough for my trailer to begin with, but he didn't have a forklift that would lift this off of my trailer, so he had to go out and rent a lull to get it off of my trailer to begin with. But it took him way longer than a couple of days. It took him about a week and a half to fabricate it. But in the meantime, what he had done is taken all of the steel off of my trailer, called me a couple of days later, says, well, why don't you come get your trailer because we're not going to get it done right away anyways, because it was around Christmas time anyway. So I went, got my trailer, did some other hauling in the meantime, and then had to go back for it. And I'm just going to show you a little pick and pick over there of the steel on the trailer before, and I'll show you another little pick and pick over there again of the steel after it was fabricated. But there'll be more discussion about it. But one of the things that, one of the hauls that I had to make is to Minnesota, and guess what's missing from the shop now? All those 11 generators that were sitting over here and sitting over there. So I have a kind of a clean shop back at those areas, or an uncluttered shop, let's say. But let me begin, and we'll get going with the clips that I had shot. And again, it may be a little chaotic because sometimes you kind of forget what you had shot and come back from a haul and you're kind of dazed and confused and trying to figure out what you had done and hadn't done. Like these generators. I actually thought I had shot a clip of this floor space in here, only to figure out, find out when I came back from a haul that, and was going to start putting this together, that I hadn't shot that clip. As part of a little shop update, I'm just giving you a shot. This is an LED light that goes on the side of the trailer. Now, I'm not really sure how it got broken. I kind of suspect it was a snowplow guy, but I'm not really sure how it got broken. What I'll do is I'll take you out and show you that, but these trailer lights are pretty standard. I was able to go to my local trailer supply store and pick it up. Now, this is an LED one. The one that they had in stock was it had an incandescent bulb in it, or a standard bulb in it, but it replaced, the fitting is the same, the connection port is the exact same, so it just plugged in just as an LED like the original one was. I'll take you out and show it to you and show you why I think it was the plow guy. but it could have been, it actually could have been when they were loading generators on the thing. I just never noticed it. It broke the lens, and it really didn't do anything except break the lens. And I think I kind of broke this thing apart while I was trying to get it out. It probably was cracked, but didn't work. But it could have been when they were loading generators or something onto my trailers. A lot of times the forklift operator will come up, bump the rub rail, and now this thing sets back in from the rub rail, but sometimes there's protrusions on different lifts that could have hit it. But I'll show you why I suspect it was the plow guy, the snow plow guy. These are those two light fixtures that I got. Now that I know what they are, I actually probably can get them from my trailer supply place. But I got these from, I didn't get them from Diamond C. Diamond C Trailers doesn't sell repair parts, light fixtures, stuff like that on the internet like PJ Trailer does. They tell you to contact your local dealer. Well, I really don't have a local dealer. Again, I bought this trailer off of a dealer in Pennsylvania, which was Ohio, which was the closest one to me. There is another dealer down around the Philadelphia area, but it was actually closer for me to go to Ohio than it was to go down around Philadelphia to pick it up. So I got it from him, but once I got it, and it been to my local trailer supply place. Now, when I say it's a trailer supply place, it's not like an RV trailer type place. It's a they do like semi-trailers and deck over trailers like mine, utility trailers, stuff like that. No RV trailers. Well, I'm supposed that the lights maybe out of an RV trailer might be the same type of fixture. They kind of are standard light fixtures that go into trailers. So they probably do supply light fixtures to them too. But maybe sometime when I'm down there, I'll film it and show you. Okay, so I'm out behind the shop with the trailer, and what I was doing is I cleaned it up the other day, and I put it back where it normally is. When I say I cleaned it up, I've just power washed it off because it was full of road salt and stuff from the Michigan trip and a trip that I had to take down to Maryland to pick up a truck. But anyways, what I did is I had brought it back over to the behind the shop because it's getting close to Christmas. As a matter of fact, it's Christmas Eve, but I wanted to be able to wash it real wash it with soap. But what I did is somehow this light got pushed back in here. This is one of them 3/4 inch LED light fixtures, and it got pushed back in. So in order to get it back out again, I had to take that light out. But when I first tried to take it out, it cracked the lens. Now the light still works. So before I went any further, I wanted to get a couple of replacements for that in case it broke when I took it out to push that other light back in again. But I got them and I put that back in. But I'll take you over and show you that this is the one that I had replaced on here. And as you can see, what happened is that that plow came right down along the side of here and just kind of scraped it and then pulled off of it. But anyways, I'm gonna wash it again. I power washed it, but I want to get it better. The day after Christmas, I've got a steel haul that I've got to make, and I just want to get it totally cleaned up before I have to do that. I'm gonna bring over the truck and just to double check and make sure that the lights are all working. Again, I got a box of lights in there. It isn't bad out right now. It's like 32 degrees. It's supposed to go up to 40 degrees. As soon as the sun comes over to the back side of the shop, what I'll do is I'll start working on cleaning that up, washing it. So what I did is I pulled my truck around and I just plugged it into it. So that one that I had to push back out, that red light, that 3/4 inch red balloon on the tail there, that works fine. This is the one that I didn't replace, and if you can remember this, how this one looks, you'll notice the difference in the other one. This one's the LED. The one that I got to replace it on the other side is a regular bulb, an incandescent bulb. Now this one, it's very dim. It's actually working, but it's very dim. It looks like one of the LEDs. I think these are dual LEDs. One of them is out. So gonna have to get that replaced. And here is that new one, the incandescent one. And what I'm having issues with is the one that I cracked over there trying to get that out is working fine. That's working fine. But this one is only got one LED and one turn on it. So I'm going to end up having to replace that one now. So what I'll do is I'll pull the plug or shut the electricity off and the electricity. I'll pull the plug out in the truck so there's no power to it, and I'll pull that one out and probably replace it right now. Okay, so I replaced that light, as you can see. It's actually much brighter than the one next to it, but it doesn't matter as long as it works. I'm just showing you a little shot of the floor. Yesterday I had to deliver some steel. Now, I had told you about that steel previously, the big I-beams and the big tube steel, and all of that angle iron I had taken to a fabricator and dropped off. Well, yesterday I had to go back to the fabricator, pick it up, which is another story, but it was a slow process getting it loaded on from the fabricator because he had rendered a lull to unload the stuff off of my trailer. I had dropped my trailer off in the parking lot, left it there, and he had rendered a lull to unload it. Then I had went and got my trailer after he had gotten it unloaded so that I could make some other hauls. And yesterday when I went back to do it, he had returned the lull. So we actually had to do the same thing that I do here. There is hook up. He had, because of the tight quarters of the parking lot into a shop and the size of the shop door, had to, he had one of these arrangements for his forklift. I had to disconnect my trailer, and we had to guide the trailer into the shop using the forklift because of the tight quarters to get it in. It ended up being, he had to weld a bunch of plate steel to the bottom of the I-beams and stuff like that. So there was no loss at the fabricator. It was actually an add-on of weight. I think the total weight came out to 23,000 or around 23,000 pounds. And I had to take it down to a contractor and drop it off at the contractor's place. And what it was is they had a paved driveway up to the front of the, or up near the front of the building, but in behind the building it was all dirt and it had been raining and muddy. This is just the mud that I got off of my truck, and ironically, yesterday before I went down to the fabricators, I washed my truck because it was supposed to be a nice day, only to get down there and it was a big mud hole. But anyways, I just kind of thought I'd show that to you. The same thing happened with the trailer too. I didn't bring the trailer into the shop, logically, because I can't get the trailer into the shop because of the length of it. But what I did is back the trailer up behind the shop and rinsed all of the mud with hooked up the garden hoses and rinsed all the mud off out in the back in the parking lot. Just straightened up some things. You know, every time that you go on a haul, use well, not so much with the chains and binders, because they actually have a rack that they fit back into in a order. Not the same way with the ratchet straps and binders. Ratchet straps. They go in that front toolbox, and sometimes it turns into chaos because everything else gets stuffed in there too. After you undo a load, you kind of want to get out of the place, and you just kind of throw everything in there, and it all has to be reorganized once you get back. I'll bring you back. Okay, so I had told you that I thought I had lost some clips or something, but what I'm going to show you next is a generator that I had to go down to Philadelphia and pick up. Now, I didn't take the trailer down, and I'm glad I didn't, as I will explain in this clip of showing you the generator after I got it back. What I did is just stuck it in the back of my pickup truck. It's a fairly small generator. Just stuck it in the back of my pickup truck and brought it back up here. And then what I'm doing with this generator is taking it to Minnesota. That and the generators that were stored in my shop were going to Minnesota. And again, I thought I had showed you, or I thought I had shot a clip of the trailer loaded with the small generators, showed before the floor space that was opened up after taking all them little generators out and loading the generator from Philadelphia for a trip to Minnesota. Now, once I got out to Minnesota, I have a return trip that I came back with, and I'm going to show you that on the trailer down in a very small little town called Shingle House, Pennsylvania. But here we go. Okay, I'm in the shop here, and this is a generator that I went down to south of Philadelphia yesterday and picked up. Now, I didn't take the trailer, and after getting there, it's a good thing that I didn't take the trailer. I kind of figured that I'll explain where it's going in a minute, but I kind of figured that I would just save some fuel, save some cost on going down, just throwing it in the back of the truck and then bringing it back, and it worked out fine. I picked it up for a customer from a rental place. They were selling it. There's some switchgear in the back seat of my truck that goes with it, circuit breaker box and some other boxes that go with it. It's a diesel generator. I'm not sure of the make of it. It's been painted fairly recently. As you can see, it's a gray paint, but it does run. Now, it's only a 30 kW generator, but what I've got to do is okay, so I put it in the back of my truck. They had a little bit of an issue getting it into my truck because there's really no rigging points, and they didn't have, well, they probably had something there. There's a lot of that rental place that I didn't see. It's like a construction rental place, but they probably had a lull there or something that they could have boomed it over and sat it down into the truck with, but they used a couple of forklifts to put it in. But because of the way that is bracketed. It's got that tube seal that you could maybe get small forks into, but that didn't. I don't even know why they put that tube seal there. But you can't end pick it. So what I had to do is back the truck in here, and I used my hoist to back the truck underneath that and use some chains that are laying over there on the floor and the hoist to pick it out of the back of the truck, and then just drove the truck out from underneath it. So what I've got to do, got to load this generator onto the trailer, and then I've got to load all of these generators onto the trailer, and I'm headed for Minnesota to drop all of this stuff back off again. So and then when I'm out there, I've got to pick some stuff up for another customer and bring it back. But let me kind of show you. It runs really good. But anyways, there's that. I'll show you the trailer after I get it loaded. I didn't shoot any footage of me going down there yesterday. Again, it was, I told you it was south of Philadelphia, but it's still like a suburb of Philadelphia. Kind of narrow streets. As a matter of fact, so narrow. I got there early and they hadn't opened the gate yet, and I pulled up to the gate, and it was my back of my truck was even kind of blocking a little side street a little bit. It's kind of a weird place. Anyways, I'll show it to you when it's all loaded. Mississippi River. I'm on Route 80. I decided to take 80 over and cut up to 90 east of where I'm going in Minnesota. Usually the GPS takes me through Chicago, 94. The last time I did it, I took an alternate route, which was 280 or 284, something like that, but it still told the shit out of you. Pay tolls, not toll as in hard time. But anyways, a little rough right here, but what I've got on is I've got all those generators. Sorry. When this road gets like this, it's hard to talk because all you do is bounce and your voice vibrates. I've got that, I've got all those generators that came out of my shop in here, and then the generator that I picked up in Philadelphia. Okay, we're back. I've got the generators that were in my shop and the generator that I picked up in Philadelphia. After I dropped this off, this is New Year's Day, I left early in the morning, kind of taking my time, ran into a snowstorm just west of where I live, and through Erie. Once I got through Erie, it tapered off, and the roads were kind of snowy, probably for about 30-40 miles towards Cleveland, but got through it okay. So I decided to take 80 over just for a change of scenery and to save some of the tolls. What I've got to do is drop this generator off in Minnesota, actually Truman, Minnesota, if you want to kind of look it up on the map. dropping it off, dropping these generators off there tomorrow morning, which is Thursday morning. Today is Wednesday, New Year's. Dropping it off, then I've got to go up to Minneapolis, a little bit north of Minneapolis, and pick up a fuel tank for a generator. And then I've got to shoot back down to Iowa and pick up a parts generator there and take these things, the fuel tank and that parts generator, back to Pennsylvania. That guy in Pennsylvania that I haul generators for. So I'll bring you back as things progress. I'm still in Minnesota. This is Route 63. It's actually supposed to be some scenic highway. It's the way the GPS took me. What I'm doing is going from just north of Minneapolis to a town called Manchester, Iowa, and I'm picking up a generator there. What I was doing north of Minneapolis was picking up a fuel tank for a generator. I'll show this all to you at some point in time. You might be able to see a little bit of it in the mirror there. So it's one of those fuel tanks where the generator sits on top of it. So it's kind of a heavy walled tank. Picked it up at a generator supply place, again, south or north of Minneapolis, and then let me just explain to you this generator supply place. It isn't really a big place. A couple of employees, kind of a weird place to get to their loading dock type of area. But the cool thing is, right across the street is Cummins plant, Cummins generators. And these people actually drive their forklift across the street and into Cummins generator plant to pick up new generators out of there. But anyways, again, Minnesota, headed south towards Iowa, Manchester, Iowa. Here's a question for you guys. I've been driving through Minnesota farmland for a long time. Is this land, was it treed to begin with and the settlers cut all these trees down? Or is this part of the prairie and it was mainly open? So if anybody knows, throw a comment in the comment section below. So here it is. This is a fuel tank and generator. Brought it out of Shingle House, Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, this is Shingle House, Pennsylvania. The fuel tank came out of Minnesota. The generator came out of Iowa. $340 gallons of fuel tank is. Okay, so that's going to do it for this update. One of the good things is I don't have anything scheduled to be hauled right away. Now that could change on a daily basis, but at least it's going to give me a couple of days to get back in the shop here and continue on with the projects, the haul truck that you're looking at right now. And there's some other things that I've got going on. One of the things that I'm going to show you in the next shop update is the tires that I got for the rear of my pickup truck. I had talked about in another shop update, I had an issue with getting somewhere, kind of getting stuck on a hill and stuff like that. I got some new tires on it, and I'm glad to say that I'm thinking that was probably 70–75% of the problem was those tires that came on that truck were not just any good in snow and ice. So I'll kind of update you on that on the next shop update, but look for some project updates too on the haul truck and some other things. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe.